The mic on. You're recording? Okay, you're good, man.
Okay. Call the meeting to order. Tiffany, please take the roll.
Councilwoman Garvey?
Present.
Councilwoman Workala?
Present.
Councilman Brennan?
Present.
Councilman Harjo?
Present.
Mayor Sykes?
Present, let the record reflect that we do have a quorum for Tuesday, November 25th, 2025. Run down to recognizing persons in the audience. Would you like to have to speak? Yeah, Don.
It's right there, Chris.
Sign this paper. Nope.
Just state your name, Don.
Don, yes.
Yeah. I was reading on here, you guys are supposed to get a snow plow, street sweeper. What's the Pelican they're gonna be able to do that the other ones can't? What's the price on them? On the snow plow, is that snow plow gonna be tying that truck up? Or is it gonna be a removable one? And what's the cost on that? Is it gonna be a quick hookup so that the truck ain't tied up all the time just for snow only? And still be usable to do everyday use stuff that we have to do in town. And you guys converting everything to Sears or whatever is out there nowadays? I'm just curious. How's other trucks set up? If they're electronic or if they're manual, hydraulic, or what, and all that stuff. Because some of them you can control with the controls inside. You can make the sanders work versus the back end control your speeds and everything like that. I'm just curious. That's what I've got to say. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay. Run down to conflict of interest. Has any council member received information pertaining to otherwise had any contact with any person regarding items on the city council? If so, please set forth nature of contact. Hearing none, run down to consent agenda. Council, is there anything that you'd like to pull? Or any more further discussion on? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve consent agenda as printed? Councilwoman Garvey?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as written. Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion?
Mayor, just
Oh, go ahead, sir.
for the record, these are items requested in the annual budget creation and approved at our budget, so it's kind of a finalization.
It's been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. Councilman Harjo?
Aye.
Councilwoman Workla?
Aye.
Councilman Brennan?
Aye.
Councilwoman Garvey? Run down to old business, there was none. Run down to new business. Number one, there was none that were removed. And then number two, run down new business. Number two, action on deliberation decision on planning and zoning commission recommendation. Findings of fact for a conditional use permit to operate a drive-up window located at the parcel address at 1410 American Legion Boulevard with conditions. Council? Councilman Brennan?
After reading through the decision recommendation that was provided to us, I have a few questions. The first will be,
You want the applicant or Brenda or King?
Brenda, I suppose. Say the combination of Brenda and Chris. Speaking your mic, so I'm kidding.
Sorry, go ahead.
The stormwater retention on the property. But I have a little areas of concern on this because in numerous times in the years that I've been here, I've seen this property basically like a little island coming out of the water with the land saturated and with standing water around the building. In talking to city staff, there's an on-site stormwater drain that is owned and operated by the city. And at this time, it doesn't sound like we know if it's operational. Can we ask the developer or the owner if they know if that's an operational drain at this time?
I'm not the developer. You're looking at me.
Right, Mayor, if we want to bring up the applicant, we certainly can. I don't know how long they've experienced, activity at that site, but we could certainly bring them forward.
Hi, I'm Julie Buckley.
Maybe with
yeah.
like the repaving of the parking lot to happen, did you get that assessed or have you seen it
Yeah,
actively
we've-
flowing with water?
Yeah, before we bought the building, we did get the water department, I can't remember the gentleman's name, to come out and he looked at that drain and he did confirm that it goes down and out to the, what is that? Like the pond canal area, kind of, towards like the old red pavilion, the noodle place. I don't know, Tokyo, I think is what it is now.
Or the other direction?
Yeah, it goes that way. So there's one in our parking lot, and then if you look, there's the sidewalk, the city sidewalk on American Legion. Then there's like a rock area. Then there's like it kind of looks like a gutter, and it goes towards the other parcel, and water goes that way as well. And we did get the parking lot repaved. We had, since it was repaved, we did have a nice storm, and I do have pictures of the water and how it laid, and that was not a concerned area at all. It drained properly.
Did the folks who used to pave it do the appropriate grading and slope it towards your drain?
They were out there. They graded the dirt area before they laid it. We are going to call them back because there is just like a couple of areas of concern, but they're not anywhere related to that. It's more out in the main parking lot area.
Just some like low spots? Or?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because we did have the tree trunk that was there for I don't even know how many years, and we removed it. We packed it with the dirt and everything, and then it was settled enough that we repaved it. But I think it needed to be built up a little bit more.
With the stormwater retention, I guess I get concerned, make sure it's operating. We would operating appropriately. We would normally require the development team. We would normally require like stormwater swales or retention ponds. But for this reason, are we not recommending those because of that pipe that's in their parking lot?
Mr. Mayor, I definitely believe that plays a part into it. Stormwater is required to be maintained on site. Stormwater swells are certainly a part of that, and can be used within the buffers and the landscaping areas, because the applicant is requesting a deviation from landscape requirements regarding perimeter landscaping. That swell, and we can confirm with Public Works that should be sufficient for drainage to that area.
Mayor, I know, can we bring up an image, please? So we can see what you're referencing.
Go ahead.
I don't think that either one of these are actually
No.
operational today.
You got a map there?
I have
That's
I printed a bunch of copies
I have
of
it.
this. and
Oh, yeah, I just
Saying-
want to, okay, when she's explaining these
This-
areas, I
You
just,
should have these sitting up there. I printed 6 of these.
Chris, I have it. Just
Okay,
understand.
This is
well, this is different.
Yeah, this,
Well, that's a different.
This is the stormwater.
Oh, you have it. Thank you.
Yeah, I dropped a couple of them up there.
Okay.
Good.
So in talking with Mr. Curtis here, Public Works Director, said that they would be happy to go out and check the condition of the pipe and make sure it's flowing, because it sounds like it is our pipe. on your property, we have an easement there, so it'd be our responsibility to ensure that that's functioning. And so I guess with that, the easement that came with that, it probably settled my concerns there. Next, I was gonna ask, the language that was used really caught my eye for the EDU, the equivalent dwelling unit calculations for the property, where the city staff agreed or determined that you would have essentially two EDUs. You'd be billed for two EDUs for the property. One essentially for the office space and one for the soda shop. Understood, right so far?
Mr. Mayor, Councilman, that's correct.
And so to be only the owners of one EDU but billed for two doesn't seem like a right decision, or not a right decision, but something seems awry there to me. And so I don't know how you pay for two without being actually assessed for two EDUs. And in the ordinance, I'm going to read just a second. It says the owner of any property. This is City Ordinance 7-1A-7. The owner of any property connecting to a city's water system for the first time, or changing the use of the property, which results in an increase in the equivalent dwelling unit as provided in section 71D-1 of this chapter, or his or her agent shall pay to the city prior to the issuance of a water service connection permit a water service availability fee of $2,450 per equivalent dwelling unit. The water, and then it goes on to say what the water service availability for is used for city growth and development, essentially. So, is Paul on the line?
Yep. Paul? Paul?
Yeah, sorry, I had it on mute.
Paul, were you able to hear me read off the ordinance?
Half of it.
Okay, well, referring to 7-1A-7, if a, make sure I'm using the right term, an owner of a property is expanding or changing the use of which it was prior to their ownership or use. Am I reading it right where they should have they need to pay the connection fee for the second EDU if city staff has determined that they need a second EDU? Rather than just.
Yes, I think you're reading it.
Okay. And then,
I don't have the ordinance terms in front of me, but that would be lawful. Yes.
Okay. So, Brenda, I don't know who made the assessment of two EDUs, but if the use is appropriate for two EDUs, in my recommendation to pass this CP, I would add to the motion that they pay the connection fee for the second EDU.
Mr. Mayor,
Go
I
ahead.
can ask Councilman Brennan a question. So, in legal, I don't know if you can hear me, Paul.
Hang on a second. All right.
I can hear Brenda.
Okay, thank you. So I do want to point out, in addition to it, with regards to EDUs. So the EDUs are connected to water and sewer. And so I just want to be, in the ordinance that Councilman Brennan read, it says initial connection. And then I know it goes on, to say you're going to pay for the EDU fees. Councilman Brennan, is that correct? Does it say an initial connection?
And the changing of the use.
And the changing of the use. In 7-1D1, I just want to confirm that with regards to 7-1D1 as well, where it says any alteration to a business premises for which a building permit is required, expansion of the property or expansion alteration of the business's operations shall trigger an automatic review of the account and recalculation of the number of EDUs to be used in calculation with the monthly user fees. So I just want to confirm in in your experience and with what you know here with regards to our code, is that both they're going to be charged the initial water and sewer availability fees as well as the connection or the utility billing fees?
I'm not sure exactly what you mean by the water availability fee, but let me speak in a generality, which is to say that anytime you wish to do a change of use, and for this conditional use permit, it's going to be an additional burden upon the system. And so that's the basis behind the two ordinances I've heard that have been read that say if you're going to do that, you have to pay for the increase in impact that you have upon the system. So it's not fair for the rest of the citizenry or the city to bear the burden of the impact of the drive-in use. And so anything that carries forward after that, that's the lens I'm looking through. Is it consistent with that burden? You shouldn't be paying any more than your proportionate impact upon the system, but you certainly shouldn't be paying any less.
Mr. Mayor,
And
Councilman?
so explain, if you want, you can continue on and explain to me. So the connection fee is a no-brainer in my mind. The other fee, I confess I don't know what that is.
Go ahead, Brenda.
Yeah. Counselor, the water availability fee is the connection fee to the city's services. So water sewer, we call those water sewer availability fees. And then
So it's the same thing.
yeah, they equate to the equivalent dwelling unit and how we assess that availability fee.
Yes. In that case, I have no problem with it. It's consistent with the maxim that or the philosophical approach that I just explained.
All right. Thank you for your clarification, sir.
Wow, sir.
It is formal.
The other part of the application or request was the request for a delay of installing the curb gutter and sidewalk. Just like for the record, I typically do not support delays in action because I feel like the city lacks the ability to enforce it after the fact once you're operational for business. But city staff has been kind enough to tell me that the whole business will operate under a basically a permanent conditional use permit, an ongoing, I guess. And so if you fail to put that in, then you yank the conditional use permit and it closes your shop. So with that being early winter here, I probably won't object to that. I don't think I have an issue with that, but I want to make sure that it does come to fruition as the conditional use permit will require. And you guys put a date as of June 30th, is that right? No
Yeah.
later than?
Yes.
Okay. And then on the east side of the property, which I would say is like behind the building, behind the front doors, which kind of is adjacent to the little RV park there.
Okay.
What would be the plan to keep you're down in a basin, right, there for street level. What would be the plan to keep your water on your property there and not let it run off to the neighboring property?
So far we haven't had an issue with that. It's gone to the drain that's on our property, and I haven't seen any water flow. So I don't know how it's been graded so far, but it seems to be working. Yeah, I don't know.
And ITD is making you close the first, I guess the most westerly access on American Legion Boulevard.
Yes.
Are you having to re-curb and gutter that whole thing? Or
No.
just put a barrier there?
Yeah, they just said if we put a barrier there, either planter boxes or like a cement barricade, whatever we choose to do is would be okay with them.
As long as it's clear to the motoring public that they can't go through that spot, right? Okay. And you'll have one access on North 4th and one on East 4th, is that right?
North 4th and 14th East.
14th.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit more about your request for the landscaping waiver?
Yes. So with this being an established property already, we are concerned about the sightlines being on American Legion. So we thought that the decorative rocks, the way it is, landscape now is acceptable for American Legion. And then in order to run any kind of watering system out to the edges of the property would, be costly. And so we asked for a waiver to put the decorative rocks along the side of the building, and then to use potted plants so that we could, closer to the building, so that we could maintain that and, easier. And it would be more cost effective for us.
So basically building on the edge of the building, not at the edge of the parking lot, between the parking lot and the curb gutter sidewalk area, right?
Mhm.
And that's the request of the waiver, to keep it, to not put anything there.
Yes, Mayor, Councilman, that's correct. They wish to, rather than have the landscape along that buffer area, along the public road frontage, is to put landscaping up near the side of the building on the north side, and then on that westerly side as well,
Okay.
in potted plants.
The part on American Legion Boulevard and North 14th East, I got no objections to that request. I feel like the east, fourth, north side could stand some landscaping. I'm gonna look at my zoning map really quick to see what the other side of the street is, unless you guys can.
Councilman?
Yeah.
That is an R3 zone.
On the other side of the street.
On the north side of this parcel of the street, that is an R3 residential zone,
R3. And it's butting up to C.
C3.
Their property's on a C3. The other side is an R.
Is an R3.
R.
Right.
Okay. I've said everything I've got for right now. I'd like to see probably a little landscaping on the R3 side, which would make a nice buffer between the residential.
Councilman Brennan. So with regards to that, to be clear, so for the findings, so would you like to see an additional, so you'll have the sidewalk, which would be 5 feet, and then an additional 5 feet of grassy area? Is that what you envision with your?
I don't want to set like what the landscaping style would be, but a small strip, whether it's nice tall grasses that they have, or I don't care, like something that looks nice that would help blend that little space between commercial and residential.
And Councilman, are you satisfied with an additional 5 feet to include, and plus the sidewalk?
Councilwoman?
Will that cut into the parking?
Councilwoman Workla, yes, it will. We can give the applicant an opportunity to discuss that. It will affect her parking. So if that is a requirement, perhaps then you may need to look at a request for reduction, an additional reduction to the parking at that location. And I'll let the applicant speak to her thoughts with regards to that.
Yes, so we did ask for a variance on that side of the landscaping due to the parking lot. The size of the building, per code, requests that we have so many parking spots in our parking lot. So we, tried to work with that and try to make the parking lot and the property as beautiful as we can. With it. So it would be, it would cut into the costs and also take away, a lot of parking that I don't know if we could even meet the code, the minimum requirements. We have to take a look at that.
Mr. Mayor. So with regards to the applicant's statement regarding that, they are putting the high back curb along 14th, and then they're also putting high back curb along 4th Street, which will allow for some additional on-street parking if the council is amenable to an additional reduction to the parking. And I don't know if that's something that we can do, because the request for planning and zoning is it was approved with the amount of spaces that are shown on our site plan. I don't even know if we can do that. So that would be a conversation for legal to address with us.
What is the marking requirement for that location?
For the office, Mr. Mayor. So for the office space and the restaurant use, city code would require 20 spaces for the combined use. Because it's a drive-through and there's no walk-in to the establishment, so there's no inside seating. That's why we felt it appropriate for the reduction of the parking spaces. However, if you're going to require the landscaping along 4th Street, they may have to modify that parking.
Yeah, I don't want to cut into your parking. And then also, the dance studio is right next to you, right on the
Yeah, diagonal.
fourth. And so my kid did karate there for a long time, or for a little while, I should say. And there's a lot of parking issues along there. So I heard that it would create additional parking along the 4th Street or something.
Mr. Mayor, Councilwoman Workley, yes. So there would be additional parking, on-street parking available at the applicant's location in front of their business. So, and I'm at this point, I'm just guessing that might be 4 spaces.
And, along American Legion Boulevard, I'm looking at Exhibit C. It says barrier with a red X going through there. What's that going to be comprised of?
My plan, I would like to put planter boxes there as long as we can keep it within the sight lines for the traffic. That or it would be a cement barrier, but I would prefer to have it look nicer. And so I would like to put a planter box there.
So I drove by coming here tonight, and I saw that there's this big yellow post on the corner, and then it's open, right? But so is it IDT or ITV? Are they requiring you to just kind of create some type of physical barrier between American Legion because of how the cars are going to be flowing through there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And so it could be planter boxes, anything like that as a barrier.
Right. Yeah. So ITD has, looked at the property, and that entrance is not something that they like, because of the distance from the intersection. And so, because this has been there for a while, that's just a compromise that they were happy to make because they are not comfortable with that.
Did they give you any type of stipulations on like how big these planter boxes need to be, or
No.
how wide, or anything like that?
No.
Just
Yeah. Mhm.
Thank you. That's all.
Councilman Brennan?
Going back to the parking space topic, how many parking spaces do you want on your property? Like, I don't imagine you want 20 of them.
No. I am requesting 12 to 14.
You want that many?
Mhm.
12 to 14?
Yes.
And there's not, I'm not sure the right term. If you talk to like a parking engineer about how wide that little strip needs to be between the roadside parking and the business side parking.
Between the roadside parking. Okay, like
So in between.
the the space before. So I don't believe I spoke to an engineer about it. What I did do is follow the guidelines for the parking spaces, the width and the length. And then I did some research around town, looking at other parking lots and the space that is similar, in a similar parking design. And we have sufficient space for that, for the backing in and out of the slotted.
So you self-designed it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You don't feel like there's any extra space there.
Not extra, no.
Do you think the city should have any burden to kind of help protect neighboring properties from redevelopment?
Sure. I do believe that is the great function for the city to do. Yeah.
I don't want to take away parking spaces either, but with all the requests that have come forward, I feel like that's pretty small now. But obviously I haven't designed your parking lot at all here, so I'm not sure if there's a compromise in your mind there.
As far as like landscaping out on that road,
Just the strip on East Fourth North.
I mean, I might be able to put some rocks, decorative rocks along the sidewalk. And you know, if it was thin, I think the ordinance is a little thicker, you know, like width-wise for than what would allow me to keep those parking spots.
You mean like the 5 feet that she mentioned?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I'm not even like a stickler on the 5 feet. Like if you got some nice rocks in those,
mhm.
what are like those tall grasses called?
There's like the blue oak grass or something.
Yeah.
Or pampas grass.
Yeah, each year they grow tall and decorative or whatever. Like those probably need like 20 inches, maybe 24 inches.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's something to help create that little, just a little buffer.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, if I may ask you, Councilman Brennan, with regards to landscaping along that side of the road, would you consider potted plants along that area as well?
Probably not, because I think it's so short term. It's, 5 months of the 12-month year. I mean, there's other plants, I guess, that could be. If it was a row of planter boxes, like maybe she wanted to use it to close off the other access, a thin, I don't know, 2 foot wide planter box along that strip, that'd be better. Yeah, you might have cars getting into the parking, but it's not something you do to protect your own property, I guess.
Mr. Mayor, thank you, Councilman. We just want to kind of clarify to the applicant what she may be looking at for a requirement.
Okay, council. Councilman Parker?
A couple quick things. During the public hearing, planning and zoning, we had a citizen come forward and ask about deliveries at the back of the building there, and I think that's been covered pretty well in our documentation. But that during that testimony, there was a question about impact to the kids crossing American Legion. Interacting in and around your business. Obviously, there are other businesses that have a lot of traffic around there. Can you speak to the thought put into the arrangement and the organization of parking and drive-through that you put in so far?
Okay. Yeah. So just to clarify, you want to like the thought of like how the drive-through is arranged. Yeah. So right now. I would like to point out, like I did with the other meetings, planning and zoning, that there are no sidewalks at all on the property. And these sidewalks would be an addition to the community, which right there would be a fantastic way to help keep the kids safe. Other businesses draw the kids there, and they do cross in that area. And right now there's nothing stopping any cars from driving into that parking lot at all, and keeping the cars away from the intersection, which is a safety concern for the kids that are walking. And so the addition of that high curb would make the cars go down at least, and give the pedestrians a place to be instead of like in the path of the cars. So we thought the 60 feet from the intersection would be sufficient, and allow the pedestrians to be safer as they cross.
Thank you.
Can I join?
Absolutely.
Okay, sorry, I didn't know. Because there's just a few things that we talked about with Cisco and the delivery guys. All our delivery,
This is my husband, Matt.
Sorry,
but
Matt
we all
Buckley. all the
property
delivery
together.
guys have told us they'll be there between the hours of 6 and 6:30 a.m. So I don't believe we'll have an issue with any pedestrians walking, young kids at that time at least, during that time. So all our deliveries are before 6:30 a.m.
Mayor,
Councilman
one separate topic from that. under section 11, the proposed conditional use will not be hazardous or disturbing to existing or future neighboring uses. And it goes on to discuss a draft of a cross-access agreement. This is in our findings of fact. And in the packet, on Exhibit C in the site plan, you have the little stanchion barriers kind of like delineating the right turn exit onto the American Legion only. One of the points of verbiage in our conditional use permit code, which tab I left open here. One of the things that's discussed in there is the under 917.1 is cutting down on things that are hazardous or disturbing. One of those is discussed as road glare. Noise is another example of those kind of things. In that, in the process of putting in whatever those stanchions are going to be, I don't know that I would necessarily require this under the motion that may be made, but in those roadway delineators, there's a type that are more blade-like than upright that might offer you a little bit more future protection against the what could be considered nuisance by headlight glare and that kind of thing down that residential corridor that those vehicles at the drive-through would be pointing at. So just a suggestion from that perspective. There are some products out there that might help with that, achieve both those things at once.
All right, council, what do you want to do? Councilwoman Garvey.
I just want to say it really looks amazing. It looks so awesome. It's the best it's looked in years. And so I think congratulations. It's really nice to see you taking
Councilman Brennan.
Make a motion.
Okay.
My motion would be to, I don't have the one here in front of me right now, sorry. To approve, Planning and Zoning Commission's recommendation, finding of fact for conditional use permit to operate a drive-up window located on a parcel addressed as 1410 American Legion Boulevard with all of their conditions, and adding the condition of a requirement to pay for one water service connection fee, and adding a small landscape strip of no less than 24 inches wide for the length of the property on East 4th.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? Here, Councilwoman Garvey.
So I Chris or Brenda, the second EDU, what was that based on? I mean, I understand the 12 to 14 parking spots, but it's not going to have walking. It's not going to have sit down. It's not increasing much. I'm just curious how that was decided on.
Mr. Councilwoman Harvey. So with regards to the resolution regarding EDUs, we have, there's different businesses that require different EDUs. And so with regards to that resolution on that chart, it calls out food service. It doesn't food and beverage service, right? And so that's what this use is food and beverage service. It also, inside of that, it allows for up to one EDU for up to 20 seats. But also inside of that, it also says without seating. So food and beverage without seating is one EDU. And so because now they've gone from one office use to now also a restaurant beverage use, that is why the EDU is there. And Mr. Mayor, if I may ask Councilman Brennan, just a point of clarification. Councilman Brennan, with regards to the EDU for water, are you also feeling the same way? These guys will probably kick me later, but with regards to the sewer availability.
Water and wastewater go hand in hand.
So it's been motioned. Is there a second? Hearing none. If we dies there. So here's my question. Oh, sorry, Scott. Or Councilman Harjo.
Paula was
Yeah.
So hang on one second.
on something.
Before, have we ever charged another business the hookup fees before when they changed their, we only charge the EDUs, I know that. But have we ever charged another business for the hookup fee?
Their sites. So from my experience and from being, with the city as I have, I will say that I don't recall that ever being the case. However, as the question was asked to me in a deeper dive into the code and confirmation by legal counsel, it is his interpretation of the code that is how it should be.
Okay.
Now, I'm not saying that didn't happen, but in my recollection and in my experiences, I have not experienced that.
All of it's on.
I just need to repeat back the motions that were done correctly. So when you guys are writing, I'm gonna repeat it back.
Go ahead.
Well, that one died.
Okay. Council, what do you want to do?
Mayor,
Councilwoman Garvey.
I have to say, I read it the same as Brenda. In the manner that the city is not out anything at this point. They haven't had to add any pipe, they haven't had to do any sort of infrastructure. And so I guess I read that fee as that fee is charged when, so say if they had, talking this through, if they had dug up a large section of that business and had to add more storm drainage or water size, I don't even know, I'm wondering right now, but I think that's when that fee would come into play. But I understand the use has changed, but there hasn't been any work done. I don't know.
So like a marathon, did they get charged another hookup fee? Because they have a whole new plant going out there?
Actually, if I can refer that question or confirm with the building official since he issued that permit.
There was no more building.
Notice I brought that one up because that one's a substantial, big play, so. Go ahead, Matt.
If I could just comment, I was back there when we were talking about the parking lot and having to give up. We've done a number of measurements around town, and the smallest property that we have found is that new noodle place. And this back out design is about the only way that we could fit that many stalls, and it's still under what the minimum was. I fear that as we cut off 2 more feet on that side, that back out option is not going to be available. Because as we've done the measurement for the bigger sidewalks and bigger curb and gutter, it's really cut into the property roughly 6 feet all the way around to put the curb and gutter in. So as we pinch that side down, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stalls, we bring it in 2 more feet. I just don't know the safety of those vehicles backing out and leaving the property. So I guess my proposal to the council would be, I would happily pay the fee if we could maybe eliminate that. I don't know if it's an option, but I just want to throw it out there.
Living in a city where there's not a lot of compact type vehicles being driven, I could just see the nightmare of trying to back out and, and doing like a 5-point turn or something.
And I drive one of those trucks. It's
Yes,
hard as
sure.
it is.
So I read, I'll just read it here again. It says, to help meet the landscaping intent and enhance the property's appearance, we plan to add decorative rock along the north side of the building and incorporate potted plants in these areas, as well as additional potted plants on the west side of the building. I'm completely fine with that.
So what do you guys want to do? Councilman Brennan.
I'm prepared to make another motion, but I want to ask legal something.
Paul?
Yeah.
Based on the ordinance that I read, I don't know, what's your legal take if the ordinance says you shall, and the argument by city staff or personnel may be that we've never done it that way, so we shouldn't do it this time. Are we creating an additional burden on the public by not charging the additional connection fee?
Councilman Brennan, allow me first to say you will be missed. I always love it when you ask these questions because you help frame the issues very well. So appreciate you. So as I was listening to all of this and texting a little bit in the background, the way if the city council is inclined to want to approve this, but not assess the fee, the water service availability fee, the way I would prefer that it be worded or articulated is that you would be moving to approve it and granting a waiver to the water service availability fee. And the basis of granting the water service availability fee waiver is because that while the resolution does articulate, if you want, you can kind of compare this to an impact fee determination hearing where you're saying, hey, I realize that an impact fee costs this much, but my burden is not what this fee is imposed for. So in a way, you're kind of doing it like that, saying that, yes, it meets the definition in the resolution because it's a business that's now going to be serving food, but because it has no sit-in, no this, no that, the only thing that gave me some pause was the 12 to 14 spots because one EDU is your house or my house, and well, we don't have 12 to 14 spots. So if those spots are all filled and they're all going to be using the services, then, well, that is the basis for a second EDU. However, if you come to the conclusion that this does not have the same burden as a marathon or any of those other things, then what you're really doing is you're granting a waiver because for every law and for every resolution that you write, there are always going to be some exceptions to the rule going, well, we didn't necessarily mean it to apply so punitively in this particular situation. So, but, and here's what goes to Councilmember Brennan's question, is what I want to hear from Public Works and Planning and Zoning is that we're not crossing off some master list of the number of EDUs we have available because we've just come to, if we're coming to the conclusion that this does not constitute a second EDU, then we shouldn't be depriving the rest of the public, the rest of development and the city of an additional EDU. And so if that can't be crossed off, then no, I'm kind of recommending that you assess the fee. If it can be, because we're coming to this determination that it truly just does not have the same burden that an additional EDU would warrant, then you'd be granting a waiver. So that's my 1 minute long explanation.
That was 3 minutes.
Mayor,
Councilman Harjo.
before we progress too much farther down this road, I think one of my questions for both legal and the council is what's in front of us today is a conditional use permit for the drive-through. And that in and of itself has, I think, some implied limitation on the reach of what we assess in relation to the drive-through versus the practice of the business or the assignment of the EDUs. Even though the EDUs are referenced in the finding of fact, the purpose of the conditional use permit is strictly are we for or against the use of the drive-through. So,
Councilman Brennan.
Mr. Buckley, I appreciate your statement earlier. It sounds like your willingness and desire to compromise a little bit. And I always act on what I think is in the best interest of our community as a whole and not what's in the best interest of a single developer. And if your statements still stand, I think it's in the best interest of the community to assess the second EDU. And I will negotiate back and say, if you'll pay the one water service connection fee and all the other things that planning and zoning recommended, then I'll waive my requirement for the 2-foot parking strip or landscape strip. So I'll make a motion for that to approve planning and zoning's recommendations with conditions, adding the condition that we assess and the applicant pays for one water service connection.
second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. Councilwoman Berry.
Aye.
Councilman Brennan. Councilwoman Whipple.
Aye.
Councilman Harjo.
Aye.
All right.
Can I repeat that back? Just so I make sure I get it right for Tiffany.
Everything that planning and zoning asked for plus one water connection.
That is it, and everyone voted aye.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay. Final comments? Anything? All right. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Meeting adjourned.